All right, so y'all ready? Y'all ready to roll? Yeah.
Nate's about to join in a minute.
Late ill kid at OneYoungsta, hold it down, bring that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, coming with another wonderful episode of That's Right, Best Believe on screen Lovecraft Country season finale. Super dope. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's go oversized. Let's go deluxe on this. You know what I'm saying? Let's go supersize on this. Ain't no reason to shade y'all at all. So I am joined by some awesome people, some awesome folks. We even got Nate rolling in the dough right now. So since we got some awesome people, right? Let's start at the bottom square. Bottom square, you know him, snowboard champion 2019, Clement Bryant.
Snowboy. Like what?
Yeah, figure out change it up.
Snowboy.
Change it up.
Snowboy. Hey, what's good? Clement Bryant
Yo,
coming
man,
in.
Snowboarding is cool. You know,
Snowboy. Me and you gonna have a talk after this.
you don't like snowboarding?
Oh, I thought you said Snowboy. I was like,
no.
I was like,
wow,
Snowboy.
that's like that meme.
Oh, he
like
out there in the streets.
Meteor.
Out there in them streets.
Anyways, what's good, y'all? I'm ready to get into this. This is, man, this episode, just damn. Anyways,
Yeah.
Also, in the other bottom square, you know him, log rolling champion 2016, Nate Miller.
Oh, yeah.
And right here, you know her. This is actually, the funny thing is, attorney by day, cosplayer by night, Gamma Ray, what's up?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
That's actually true.
Still processing. Hey, very much so. I'm busy, just cosplaying, being a lawyer.
It ain't easy in
Where do
them
I find the
streets.
time?
And then, last but not least, you may know her from Zero Dark 30. You may know her from such films as Boomerang, such films as True Lies. I give to you Vanessa Sharp.
I haven't seen any of those movies.
What?
Well, I've never seen Zero Dark 30, but I mean, people say it's good, so I mean, I guess
it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
I was like, wait, is that the one with Keanu, right?
I don't know. Zero Dark 30 is some Zero Dark 30 is some
Boomerang.
military stuff or whatever. But Boomerang is classic.
Okay, I'll make that's my list. But
So shouts out to everybody in the chat. We got Cassandra Sellers, we got Donovan Gregory. We ready to have a good time. I'm gonna throw it to the newbie tonight for the extravaganza, if you will. Gamma Ray, how do you feel about this episode just coming fresh off of it? How you feeling? What's on your mind?
Man, it's a lot, especially coming off of last week's episode where we were hit with mind-blowing revelations, and I was pretty much prepared for the worst. But I feel like they low-key played me a little bit because they had me all happy, and I was like, all right, they in the car, we having a sing-along, everybody's getting together, we got what we need, they're gonna do the spell, it's gonna be great. And it just went left. And it was pretty heartbreaking because I feel like that's just one thing, like, it almost had me thinking, like, why is it that Black people, like, we're always sacrificing, you know, for the greater good? And I mean, I understand the importance of it. We wouldn't be here today without the amount of sacrifices that, you know, our ancestors and people in the past have done. But it's just like, seems like we are always carrying that burden. I'm just like, why can't we just catch a break? Like, why can't it just work for us like it works for everybody else? Like, you know, nobody has to sacrifice anything. So that's really what's just been in my mind. Like, we just always going through something, and it seems
only break we got was that car ride. I was like, I even said out loud, I was like, this is cute. This is nice.
Right?
But then I also was like, they giving us this because somebody about to die.
Oh yeah.
Nate Miller, how you feeling? How you feeling coming off of this hot release?
It was good. It was a good episode. I don't necessarily love it as like a series/season finale. We're not really sure.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Yeah. I just think, like, especially after last week, this one kind of I don't know. It left some things to be desired. There's some Deus Ex stuff going on, you know. There's also some pacing issues I have with this episode. But there's also a lot of really cool sequences. Some characters get some great resolutions. Others are kind of left hanging. I don't know. Like if to be honest, it feels like they set the bar so high, and it just kind of, I think it just kind of missed the mark a little bit. I don't think it was bad by any means. I just don't think it was maybe as good as I expected it to be, or as it could have been.
All right, word. Over to Miss Shark. What's up? How you feeling?
Actually, I agree with Nate. And like there's a couple of moments, or a couple of things I was a little bit disappointed by. I thought, I just feel like they told us the ending like 3-4 episodes ago, and then I was like, oh, that's not gonna happen, and then it happened, and I was like, oh, all right, cool. That's it. That's why I feel like there's honestly an episode missing at the end. Like I agree. I don't think it was I don't think it's not satisfactory as a finale. I wish there was a little bit more, because at that ending, that to me is an origin story of something sinister to me personally, and I love it, and I want to explore that. And so I feel like there was a little bit disjointed too. So I agree. I wish there was a little bit. There's a couple things I wish there was a little bit better.
All right, cool. We'll get into that. Clement, where you at with it?
I mean, I was engaged the whole episode, but like Nate and Vanessa were saying, I think there was they left more, and because they couldn't fit all of it in one episode, that it ended the way it did. And we're definitely gonna get into it. But if they do have a season 2, this is a perfect place to pick it up from. But who knows if it's going to be a season 2 or it's going to be an anthology series where they pick it up and it's still Lovecraft Country, but it's a whole new story, whole new cast. So
yeah,
who knows? But I was engaged. I liked what happened, and I liked how they made Gian part of the family at the end.
Yeah.
I really dug that, because it was like she was searching for a connection, and it wasn't necessarily love, but they brought her into the family just easily because she was along for the ride. So we'll get into it, but I have I'm still processing everything.
All right.
Like, it was sad, man. I was really sad.
For me, I feel like we similar to what I said last week. We get like a double episode, or we get like an extra. Like, I really wish we would have got like a 2-hour episode, or a 2-hour finale, or something like that. Like something that would have, gave us more time to breathe, I guess you could say, because in this case, it's not that they didn't end the story, but I do feel like, oh man, I really would have wanted to see that, like the struggle. Well, we'll get into it later, but there are some things that I would have loved to see more of. So am I satisfied? Cool. I'm like, yeah, we got the ending, but there's some things that I guess I was in my own head expecting to see that I didn't see. But what I did see, though, the moment in the car was cute. I did like that. And there's another moment I'll get into later that I really like, but I really wish we had a 2-hour finale. I think this is a show where I could have easily been like, yeah, give me more.
I mean, it doesn't, not even 2 hours, but like another 20 minutes would have made a big difference.
Half hour, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So, what is it? In the chat, big shout out to, was it Corey Toombs that said this? Talking about those 3 full character episodes weren't necessary. I don't know if I'd say that, and I don't know. Then Boogsworthy says, I thought we needed more time to flesh out some of the storylines. So with that said, are there any things in the, throwing out to everybody, is there anything here in this episode that you wish was fleshed out more, or in the season that was fleshed out more, that didn't really give you the satisfaction that you might have wanted in the finale? Nate, I come to you first. The
No.
American people want to know.
Don't make me. I'm gonna have to be the bad guy.
Okay,
this
Nate, go
day.
last. Nate, you go
Yeah,
last.
I'm gonna go last.
Who you gonna throw it to, Mike?
Clement, go.
Oh, you throwing it to me? I would have loved to seen. I would have loved to seen the kind of dissolution between Ruby and Christina. I think Ruby got shortchanged at the end, and I'm still trying to figure out how that whole fight scene went, and I'm still trying to figure out how Letty got the mark back to become invulnerable. Because when she fell off, I was like, oh, that's the way they're going. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't see that coming. That's a season finale game changer. And then she comes back alive. I'm like, oh wait, so I need to see like that whole fight between how that happened with Ruby, because she said something. She was saying an incantation at the end during that vision that they showed. But I feel like we should have seen that happen. I wanted to see how Dee got the Terminator arm. That's what I want to see. Like
Cyberdyne Systems.
Like I was like, what? I was like, okay, so great. She's Arnold Schwarzenegger now? Like, what's going on? So I wanted to see a couple of those things flesh out, and then I'm still sad that Tick died. Like, we knew he was gonna die, but I'm still like having Montrose die over his, like, kind of cry over his body, be like, get up, boy, get up, shake it
Even
off.
seeing him sing along in the car, I was like, you know what?
Yeah, I know.
That's 3 episodes, man. That's a streak. That's a streak.
See, I thought something was
3
going
in
to
a row
happen
is a streak.
during that scene. I thought that something was going to happen during that sequence, and I couldn't watch that sequence because I thought something was going to happen. That's how on edge I was during this episode. But yeah, that's just a couple of things that as I am processing it.
Gamma, where you at?
I definitely wanted to see the story between Hippolyta and Dee kind of fleshed out, because I feel like that was just, I mean, how many of us have probably felt that way towards our moms feeling like they needed to kind of escape or get away. I just kind of felt like they were actually acknowledging and touching on it. I'm like, okay, great. We're about to get real uncomfortable, but this is what makes the show so great. But it kind of like breezed over, like, like Clement said, I want to know how the arm came to be about. Did she like go off to another Earth where she met, a version of Tony Stark that we didn't know about or something like that? So like when she opened the door, I thought, oh, okay, maybe she's going to show her how she can be able to use this kind of power, something like that. So that kind of got closed off. And also, how did she get the monster as her pet? And, I mean, I guess they kind of maybe touched on, that whole with Tick and Letty, their relationship and, fears and parenthood and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, y'all really still haven't talked about the fact that we're pregnant, we're about to have a kid. What does that look like for us? We're involved. It's just, just kind of conversations like that. And I honestly thought it was going to be one of those, like, twist where, we knew he was going to die, but some kind of space portal was going to open, and then like another Earth version of Tick was going to, I don't know. I just thought they were going to go crazy with it, but
Tick
I didn't
2.0.
really go right. I didn't think she was going to really just die. And I'm just like, that's
right.
Like, we always sacrifice it, like, but
Like, I'm upset.
Yeah, I
like,
will.
No, just like with George, I'm like, no, George isn't dead. Like, Courtney B. Vance gonna come back, right? Wait, no, he's really dead. Oh my god!
I think
like,
that's one thing too.
dead?
I wanted George to come back in some manner, a manifestation of George to come back and say, like, get his final words to Dee, because Dee never got to say goodbye to her father. So like, that's I think something that I was looking for, and true. But yeah, I felt bad for her this whole season. So
yeah, she got left alone a lot. Listen, I want to be very careful as I say this, because I don't like to ruffle feathers. I mean, I said, what am I talking about? But I'm like, I've struggled for a while to be comfortable with my identity as a bisexual woman. So I'm starting to recognize how straight people, I assume Misha is straight. I just Googled it and I couldn't find any information otherwise that she was a straight woman. Writing certain stories. I wanted more from Montrose's story and I wanted more from Ruby's story, and they were both failed. This finale. Montrose did not get the arc, the ending, their way of saying his redemption was to be a better dad to your grandson. Huh? What? Okay, but we see that off screen. And then Ruby's, she finally, yes, the whole scene was so heavily layered between her and Christina, and I needed room to breathe and we needed room to explore it. And then the next thing we know, she's dead.
That's the
it bothered me. That bothered me. I wanted more breathing room and exploring those two stories because they were so central to the season. Like they made a point to explore Montrose's story last episode, and then I just feel like, and I think they did a beautiful job. I was hoping for more of a, I don't know. I think those were lacking for me. I do think but I'm gonna say like Hippolyta's story for me personally is probably the most complete and well done of the entire of all the characters. I think she was written beautifully, and I think she did a good job. She did what she had to do, I will say that her story is soothing my anxiety over Montrose and Ruby. But yeah.
I'll say the one thing that I thought was cool was kind of like the moon girl devil dinosaur thing in the end. But when did she kind of seeing D with the Shogoth? So kind of sort of like,
I get where you're going. It's like, yeah,
gotcha. But then at the same time, it's kind of like, I mean, I guess he's cool with everybody Tick is cool with, but like, and I mean, we did get that little baby flashback where they were kind of like together.
Petted, yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's word. He was like, yo, look. He was like, yo, look, yo, Lassie. And he was like, what? And he was like, I'm gonna be dead. All right. So since I'm gonna be dead, this your new owner. And he was like, all right. And then I guess, and then someone did ask in the chat, I apologize, just put a number 1 for the person that said this, but they were like, who's gonna walk or feed that thing? Or do they just let it eat on its own underground, do some stuff? I don't know. I mean,
did they bring in like a bunch of chickens like an alligator or whatever? But
I don't know, like, don't ask no questions. but yeah, I really would have loved to see the Ruby scene with Christina, because I think there's a lot of suspense that could have been there between her trying to like kind of be like, yeah, I'm on your side, psych, and try to get the blood and then end up getting into a fight and getting killed. There's a lot of suspense that could have been there, for like trying to like sneak around. Maybe like Christina leaves the room, she's like sneaking and doing stuff or whatever, and we didn't get anything because at first I'm like, oh, Christina sold him out, and then I was like, oh snap. No, I mean, Ruby sold him out. Then I was like, oh no, Ruby's dead? Hold up, what? And then she killed Letty too. Well, she tried to kill Letty. She didn't know. She messed it up. But that's two things that I would have liked to see more of, because I'm all down for, D rolling around these streets with a pit bull. You know what I'm saying? Arr, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Ain't no games to be played. But so
I just wanted to know if, like, just to get some more confirmation or just validating more, like, how Christina felt with Ruby. If it was, there was no, ulterior motives behind it. If it was just like, yeah, this is how we started, but like, I genuinely care for you. Like, I don't want to be with you as William. I want to be with you as Christina. Like, I did these things with, I'm very sincere and all this kind of stuff. Like, I was still kind of like on the edge of like, okay, I know she care about her, but is she still just kind of like, yeah, but I'm still looking out for number 1. But like, you cool. Right. But yeah, I kind of wish that was, at least for me, it probably was, but
yeah, I mean, that's what I got. Yeah. That's what I got from that scene that we have of them together, where she's talking about, have you ever done this before? And also too, I think the thing that really sells it is her putting the protection spell on Letty, you know, as she's falling, because she promised to Ruby that she would, you know, keep her safe. So
You're right.
Yeah.
So a
Good
couple
point.
things to just to address like some stuff that you guys said. I don't necessarily condone this or like agree and think it was like the right choice, but they did address a lot of these things. So like the spell was cast, like for example, the Vision saw Ruby, which was actually Christina, cast the spell on Letty as she's falling. We saw Tick transferring, you know, the protection spell essentially of the monster over, right? So we saw these things going on. They did explain them. They could have done it better. I agree that I would have rather have seen it like fleshed out in an episode than just kind of all tied together at the end to be like, hey, just in case there's any plot holes, by the way, this is just kind of fixing everything up. I don't know, like my issues with this are more like just the convenience of I'm sorry, I forget her name, but the nine-tailed fox girl,
Yeah.
Gia?
Gia, just being able to like step in front of the darkness spell thing, and like now she can control her tail suddenly, but she didn't do that earlier when they were being swarmed by white people on the bridge.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of stuff too, and yeah, like Montrose, like, and all of this time we've spent talking about Montrose's character and me talking about them setting up the redemption, and yeah, they completely fumbled it.
Yeah.
Completely fumbled it. And I understand maybe that was intended to be like a misdirection, like even Tick, referring to the book and being like, oh no, like that could be a different world or whatever, like art could end differently. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of levels to it. It's kind of just like an easy get out of jail free card, because now you can just say, well, Tick read the book, so he knew it was going to happen. So the plan was always for it to seem like they were going to fail, and he knew that they were going to get double crossed. And the only way, for it to succeed, the only way to get for the binding spell, the magic binding spell to work, is to have for his blood to actually be spilt. Like he has to die for it to happen. So. It makes sense. It still feels kind of cheap. And yeah, like looking at the scope of the season now entirely, I do feel like some of the episodes in the middle, that while I do appreciate, some of the character focus and also how they were able to like laser target these different like genres, that kind of get lost in the season. And this, it feels like a lot of that time should have been better devoted to fleshing out Christina's spell, fleshing out like her motivation outside of just, I want to become immortal. Like how does the magic work? Like they just kind of brush over these things, which I understand because they're difficult to write. And it's the focus of the show is not really on the magic so much, right? As that's like a metaphor for the other things they want to address. But it still feels kind of like a letdown in the end. And as far as like breadcrumbs for what would be a next season, like, I'm not no spoilers, but this reminds me very much of the season finale of The Boys, which we talked about, of like, it's kind of a half in, half out of like, it could just end here, or it could kind of be, a little drip secret, but also like, what are they going to do? Like, she's going to like go bad and like they're going to have to stop her or something. Like, it's not really like a, oh, wow, I want to, it's not really like a cliffhanger kind of a thing. Like, I don't know. It seems strange. And the other thing I want to say is I know that a lot of people are going to be upset about the no more magic for white people thing, but I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I did too. I love that.
That was
That
actually
was
kind of
dope.
funny.
That
I was like, oh snap! So that was
taking it back.
well, because they said that she was working on some kind of spell, like a big deal spell, and that spell is a pretty big deal to keep it out of the hands of all white people. That's some, I don't know, a whole bunch of spell writing. I mean, I guess it's a lot of spell writing. I don't know. I don't write no spells, but I'm just saying it seems like a big deal. But yeah, I'll give you that. They did kind of give us those things in those little flashes, but I still would have liked them fleshed out to the point where we like really could have like connected with them because, of course, you guys was here last week. You know what I said. You know what I'm saying? They on the bridge battling, and then Gia come out. She like, oh snap! I got this, guys. I got this. And then the tails come out, beating people up, throwing people all over the place, slicing people in half, blood and guts, and people exploding and stuff. And then she'd be like, it is done. You know what I'm saying? It would have been sweet. And then Montrose come through with like a shotgun or something. It would have been sweet. Like my version would have been a little bit different. But this kind of, to a certain degree, feels like, yo, we did all this dope stuff. Oh, snap, we ain't got but one episode left. Like, oh, snap. Yeah. Yo, we did the dopest.
It feels like that for sure.
We did mad dope stuff, but I forgot we only got 10 episodes. Will they give us more? Nah, we got 10. They give us one more? Nah, you only got 10.
Make it work.
Will they give us like an hour?
Hippolyta, show off her fighting moves that she learned.
Yeah, she did. She was like,
her story. Her story is the best.
I was like, okay, we zooming in on her. All right, Gia, what you got? What to tell? And I was like, oh, so nothing. Like you finna get like piled upon her. Okay, great.
The Ruthless Wonder says it felt like they wanted more action at the end, but there was a time and budget issue. And then Coriel says, the episode tells me there will be no season 2, so they rushed all the plot holes that they didn't flush out. That's probably why it felt lacking or felt like it lacked. It did, because it seemed like, yo, can we get an extra 30 minutes? Nope. Can we get an extra hour? Nope. So we got to do everything in 1 hour. Yep. It's like, all right, let's see how we go.
Like that. Yeah, the arm construction, like that, I felt like was a natural conclusion to like Hippolyta's story. Like she came back for D and like can use all her skills. And I love that little moment of like the drawing and stuff. But like, I wish, like Emma said, like that would the door opening and the why didn't we get a scene of them just a cute short montage, a musical montage of them working on it together or something? 2 seconds, 30 seconds, I don't know. But yeah, there was a lot of just missing parts I really wanted. And Hippolyta and D's journey is so good and warm, and I love it and everything. So like the stuff at the end with D and the are we ready to talk about that? Because I kind of need to.
We're definitely Because I'm gonna follow up after you because I'm feeling you on the D thing, but go.
I'm of two minds about it. Like this girl has gone through so much trauma, but like where did that like
how did they connect?
Where did D, the 13-year-old like comic book artist who's mourning her bestie, chased and cursed, but where did that translate to her? I'm gonna murder someone. Like
cold blood, son.
Cold blood,
like newspaper.
Cold blooded.
Yeah,
that newspaper. I think that's what
her.
Just saying. Like, I think it's just like, okay, these white men have killed my daddy. They gone unpunished. Now these white men have killed my dearest best friend in the most horrific historical way, and they walking, and she's probably just like, oh, so y'all are always taking.
She personally got tortured too, dealing with that curse and everything with the cop and stuff. So I think it kind of I agree. It feels rushed.
I don't disagree that that's the natural conclusion for. I just would want a little bit more.
But what does that mean though? So like now she's gonna ride the thing around and kill white people. Like
no. Here's the story. All right, she wears a black trench coat. She goes from town to town, setting wrongs right with her pet Shogun. All right, and she takes no mess. It's just her pet, and a sweet arm.
Yo, you be good at movie pitches, bro.
Y'all don't want that.
Someone just need to pick up the sister mantle now that.
In a cool hat, a trench coat and a cool hat. Come on, man.
I would watch
Come on.
I'd watch it.
Yo, Fatima Ali in the chat said D, the Black Winter Soldier.
Yo.
Love it.
I saw that. I was like, I don't think she's gonna just kill white people, but it's like Christina was the one that needed to, like, on some level, yeah, it felt rushed, but also it felt like Sweet Justice after all the mess that Christina did all season long. Like,
and
I don't like seeing
emulating
people that-
Emmett's death too. I mean, Dee didn't know that, but it felt symbolic that happened because of what Christina did too with that
and
gross scene.
Speaking about Dee, go ahead.
What do you mean by that? Because I'm curious what we didn't get to talk about what your take on that scene was. I read it as she was trying to understand because of that discussion with Ruby, so she put herself through that. Obviously, she couldn't.
Sure.
But,
We talked about it. I was on that episode. We talked about it. I was kind of unsettled by it. I think when white people try to understand and like our pain, emulating, I don't know. There's something just doesn't.
I wasn't convinced.
It comes off
with
disingenuous,
the sincerity
sort of.
behind
I
it.
guess.
It's just
Yeah.
Christina's motives are always going to be suspect to me. And I don't disagree that she cared about Ruby. She rushed out. She's like, Ruby, when like the car hit and like she went through the window. Like, I don't disagree she cares about Ruby. I do think she cares, which is why their relationship makes me uncomfortable because I'm like,
it's weird.
But I'm also like, no.
I think something that is really interesting is I think, Christina makes a great kind of metaphor for,
you saw that last time.
Oh yeah, but even further than that, also just like what racism can be.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not necessarily like I hate black people and I think that they, are garbage or whatever. Like, this way that like when she talks about how like this isn't personal, right? Like it's not about you. This is something I'm doing for me. I just need to do, and you just happen to be like one of the consequences of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And to her, that means like I'm not doing this because you're black, like or like it's not personal, whatever. But what she's saying is that she doesn't value them, right? She doesn't see them as people enough for that to like stop her from doing what she wants. So I think as a character that's interesting. It definitely could have been explored a lot more, but I think her relationship with Ruby really shows to that because like she likes Ruby. They have a relationship. They obviously care for each other. I would even go so far as to say she loves Ruby to a degree, but that doesn't stop her from still, essentially killing her. Although it's insinuated that she might be recoverable or still be alive in some capacity, as we've seen from like the coma thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she has to be in the bed or whatever.
Explain that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but being able to do that to her, even after still being in love with her, in order to still keep further on with her plans, like shows a lot about the mentality there. I think it's a deep character that I wish they had explored more, other than her just kind of rolling in every now and then when it was convenient.
So with that, that's the thing that was interesting because we talked earlier. I remember saying maybe like third episode or whatever, or whenever they got together. It's like, our relationship is built on a lie. Like the whole thing at the beginning with William. Technically, someone in the chat said like she was essentially date raped.
Yeah.
So she was essentially date raped, lied to. Also, like trying to kill my family and friends. Like our whole relationship is built. But don't take it personal, though. I'm just trying to kill y'all.
I May Destroy You actually addresses like I don't know if anyone watches it, but it does a really good job of exploring the different types of sexual assault. And like it's kind of like the magical rape thing where like someone is consented to one person and they did not consent to that person. And it's something I also wish the show would have addressed too, a little bit more than just like that fight scene. I don't know. But also I know that that language, the way we talk about stuff like this I don't think they just didn't talk about that stuff back then either. So I don't even know if that they had the kind of language to have that kind of conversation. Because she might not even view it as that, we might view it like that because we're in a modern times, but yeah.
Now I did want to jump to Dee real quick. I like the moment that she had with her mom because, of course, we saw this episode. We were like, yeah, go Hippolyta. Woo, name yourself, girl. But, perception is reality. And a daughter needs her mother. And she like, I don't care about no plan and no trip.
Period.
Where were you?
Yeah.
No.
And you have to be like, oh, Dad, you're right. I'm a young girl kind of getting to the point where I'm going to start to be going into my womanhood. I need you now. I felt completely vulnerable. And then these two crazy dancing curse people followed me, turned me into this like wooden petrified crazy person. And then I got brought back. Then I went back to it. Now I got saved again. All this stuff happened and you weren't here. My dad just died. TV time is weird, but like a couple months ago.
Right.
Like, I know
And I
TV
lost my
time is
arm in the
weird.
process.
And she lost her arm.
And I
Yeah.
lost my arm in the
So it's
process.
Her drawing arm.
And her best friend. Let's not forget about that.
Mhm.
One of her
Yeah,
best friends, too.
Everybody ignored her.
Everybody.
And so and this is what I'm saying. It's like D out of a lot of people, which is why I was like, okay, that whole sequence is rushed, but she got some sort of justice at the end. That whole line about they still haven't learned. This whole season was her learning about that. So her saying that brought it all full circle to me. And I think she was the one that deserved that more than anyone out of the series. You know?
I call it her villain origin story because here's the thing. I think that this is what happens to Black girls who get abandoned over and over again. They fail, they don't get protected, they have not earned the safe space. They're reaching a certain capacity where they're adults now. They're no longer considered kids. So they get to just be left on their own. This is what happens. This is the culmination of all that. She went through trauma after trauma after trauma and then went through body trauma and that broke, and then the headline and everything broke. And so I don't view that moment as a triumph. I view it as a grim reality, it was almost inevitable for her anger to manifest that way, I guess.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see more of the journey, and I wanted to spend more time with her, but I don't view it as that's a justice moment. Woo! I view it as this young girl's broke. This is the rest of her life. She's broken. This is Bruce Wayne. Maybe it could be darker.
I viewed it as her almost trying to claim some power back. She had no control or power through all the things she's had to experience. You know, nobody's listened to her. They were treating her like a child, but left her out to fend for herself like she was supposed to be an adult. And I mean, the psyche in that age, you think you're grown, but you low-key understand, no, I need adults, I need supervision, I need guidance. And she just had no control or any power. And that scene with Christina at the end, not necessarily viewing it as redemption, you got, justice served. It's just okay, you are powerless. I now have robotic arm power. Mm-hmm. I'm about to control your situation and end it. And that is a way for me to kind of breathe again, because my life is forever messed up now and changed because of what your family history, just white people in general, have done to us. So yeah, take it.
Everybody, let's get ready.
I don't know.
Set your DVRs, everyone. Get your VHS ready.
All right. Let's open Pandora's box. Let's go.
Well, the cycle of revenge is not it doesn't help her to have killed Christina. If anything, she's now crossed a line that she can't go back from. So yeah, I can understand it being cathartic, but I think if you look at it deeper, it's not necessarily a good thing. I like this arc for her, but it feels rushed. It feels like they could have developed it more. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's one episode where they leave her by herself. And this is after her mom leaves her because she's about to go somewhere that's probably extremely dangerous. So she doesn't take her daughter, right? And then gets thrown into a time traveling portal. Oops, that happens. Sometimes when you're a child, you have these feelings that you feel are so true and real, and you have this perspective on the world, and that's reality. And then when you get older, you realize that there are other things that you don't know about, and adult things and situations, and you go, okay, maybe I didn't understand. I think viewing this from her perspective, yeah, it's easy to watch her become a villain and be they didn't do hard enough, I'm going to go do corporal punishment or whatever. But it feels kind of cheap. you're a kid, get over it. Like, they left you alone. But there was also, like, do you not see the giant spell with Christina? Okay, and everything else goes on. When you got introduced to the giant dog with all the eyes and all the teeth, you didn't think, oh damn, maybe there was some stuff going on that the adults were, I don't know, trying to take care of. Like, yeah, she's a child. Of course they don't take her along with her. Like, I don't understand that. Like,
it wasn't just that she was left alone.
Yo.
She was cursed and then lost her arm. What the hell did she
But
do?
they didn't do that to her.
No, they didn't do that to her, but she tried to tell them. They failed in protecting her. The
Yes,
adults
they
in their
did.
situation failed to protect her. She tried to tell them.
The
She tried to tell Letty,
curse-
everybody. They failed her. They failed her. She has a right to be angry. She has a right to be angry.
I'm with Vanessa.
She has
Like,
an
because
absolute right to be angry.
Because
Adults are
I'm
supposed to
not
protect kids.
I'm not saying she doesn't have a right to be angry, but I'm saying that she doesn't still have a full scope on the situation. Like,
Agreed.
But when
whole
you're
point-
a
the point
kid,
of the
all that
spell-
doesn't matter.
Right.
It's like
that's exactly
Like-
what I'm saying.
But she's
That's
also
exactly what I'm
validated
saying.
in a lot of her concern. It's not just that she's the kid that is complaining. She lost her damn arm. She lost her arm. Hello.
It was 2 episodes, but remember, this is TV time, so this is like a couple of weeks. Because remember, they mentioned that Hippolyta was gone. How long did they say she was gone?
She said 200 years on that earth, didn't she?
Well, no, in our time.
Oh, and our.
I want to say they said like 2-3 weeks, something like that. So it's been a couple
Yeah.
weeks, and Dad's been dead for
3 weeks.
month
3
or
weeks.
something
They say
like
3
that.
weeks.
Okay.
All right, so 3 weeks.
Mhm.
All right, cool. They were gone. Mama was gone 3 weeks. Dad's been dead. I don't know. TV time is funny. So like 2 months now.
Yeah.
Whatever. Then her best
Yeah,
friend
long time.
dies, and she gets cursed. Like, yo, man. It's kind of a
And
big
like
deal.
that best friend was
I'm not-
in the till, right? So it's kind of
Yeah.
like
I'm
it's
not,
not just.
I'm not saying she doesn't have a reason to be angry. That's not what I'm saying at all.
You was like, yo, you're a kid. Just deal with it.
But what I'm saying is, just because you have feelings for something doesn't mean that they're right. She doesn't understand the full scope of the situation. Yes, she lost her arm. Yes, she was cursed. Like, but these are things that are outside of people's control. Like, the curse specifically made it so that she could not tell them what was going on.
Right, but like
this is
I feel
the nature of real life, right? Things are not
Oh, yeah.
black and white. Things are gray. Like, sometimes bad things happen and they're unavoidable. Like, but you harboring that anger and then now becoming the executor of people, like, and giving like that, evil face.
The executress.
Like, she might as well have
you gave it to
at
me.
the end.
The
Like,
executress.
Are men allowed to have these stories, but women aren't? I don't know. I don't care.
If it was a dude, I would. If it was a dude, I would have said the same thing. All I'm saying is it felt a little forced. I feel like if they had laid, like, it just. I mean,
You're saying you wanted more. Go ahead.
Dee's character herself doesn't really lead itself into like being this villain. It kind of like within like the last few episodes just kind of like went like light speed. And like, I get it. Again, I totally get it. She has a reason to be upset. I just feel like, I don't know. Like, as a kid, like, I can't expect her to react any other way, but I feel like from a storytelling perspective, we could have seen more of her kind of leaning into being that way. Because like, we got that little scene of her like scribbling on the faces, but also I was thinking that she's trying to like, just trying to draw again because she lost her drawing arm, so I don't know. It just felt a little rushed for me. I don't think that it doesn't make sense though. I think she's vindicated in her feelings. I don't know.
All right, check this. D the Punisher. Chapter 1, slow chrome hand. Chapter 2, cold dead fingers. Chapter y'all with
were
me
you
still?
just getting the Netflix series titles? What?
Wow.
Those sound like the Netflix series.
Cold
What?
dead hand. Like, yo, man, I'm imagining a sweet, like, quasi modern Afrofuturistic Western. She rolls into town, she doles out hard justice, and then she leaves. You know what I'm saying? Why can't we have that? D is sweet now. She has the arm and the Shogun. Let's do this. Like, am I alone in this? Yo, HBO, holla at me. I got ideas.
I'd watch it, but I'm like,
Not the path I want for D, but I'll watch it.
Right. That's what I'm like.
Can we?
I don't want that for D.
Yeah, I want better for. I want happiness for
touch
D.
on the fact that like the Black female generation all came together and like totally like
The matriarchy.
Oh yeah, that was dope. That was nice.
Did it with the magic.
That was dope.
I'm just
That
like,
was dope.
what? Just the Black woman in just the family. I mean, here we are showing up, heading in charge, like protecting.
Homie tried to escape Homie tried to escape. Came back. It was Mo sisters.
She was like, "Nah, bring him back now." Like,
I hate that one. I hate him. That 20 seconds he's on screen, I was like, somebody kill him again. I just want him to die because he sucks. But yeah, Hannah, right? Her name's Hannah. She showed up with the black dress, like the witch, the coven moment. I was like, this is I love it. I love a good witch,
like fire.
Like, yes,
bro. Like it was my fear and anger, but I learned to control it, and now I'm to protect our answer. Yes, I was here for all of that.
Can we talk about how Letty just like became some sort of witch, because the way that she was speaking the incantations through the whole
she had to get that study on, yo.
I was like respecting it. Like with that whole sequence at the end, I was just like, okay, Letty, this. I like this. It's like tapping into like something feral. Like I was like, okay, I like this. I can go for this. I want to see more of this. Like
not to
that vibe was great.
Take away from obviously the importance and very seriousness of that whole exchange between her and her name's escaping me, the grandmother, you know, where she was teaching her the language and the words and she was practicing. I almost feel like in, you know, real life, modern today, like that can kind of maybe, it made me think of like when like my grandmother was probably passing down recipes or like certain, you know, tips or trades or things that she learned to, you know, help or benefit her family to my mom, and how my mom, you know, tells me things, or she's like, you know, here's your great mother's recipe and this is what we use for XYZ. And I just I feel like that was kind of touching on it, like how things are passed down, you know, vocally through storytelling, through, you know, written down in books, you know, scriptures, the old Bible, stories, you know, all that. And it's just, I just appreciate how they still try to hold some kind of like purity to the fact of this is real. I mean, we do this. We're just adding little sci-fi mystery magical to it. But like, this is Black life. This is This is our history. This is our heritage. This is how we share and keep our stories going.
And this is Letty finding her family. Like she didn't have this growing up too. And I loved like that she found a mom and a grandma and all that. Like it was really sweet. It was really sweet.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. Because now she does have family. She has Montrose and Hippolyta and Dee now.
In the moment with
gonna be
Auntie Gia.
Like, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, boss lady? Hey,
now that she can control her tail, she gonna protect that baby.
Yep, you know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't be mad at
Nate. Look at Nate. Nate's like,
that's the one to say.
I don't approve any of this.
Oh wait. I'm opening Pandora's box again. What you got, Nate?
I want to hear it. I gotta hear it.
Come on, Nate.
I don't have anything.
Nate, how do you feel?
Come on, Nate.
How do you feel about Gia and her entry into this episode? How she was played either at the meeting with Tick, at the end, on the bridge. You know, let us know your thoughts. The American people want to know.
Yeah.
Gia definitely was a big letdown for me. I think very wasted, just kind of conveniently used without really being explained. Also, like, what's, you know, now what is she gonna do? Like, they don't really, like, we can assume she's, you know, she's family now, so she's gonna chill with the family, but like, I don't know.
So you didn't like them singing in the car? You don't want them to be family?
He's so funny.
La familia.
The singing in the car was the singing in the car is just like horror trope 101. Like, if before some stuff goes down, you gotta have the happy moment where everyone is.
But did you like it?
I feel indifferent.
You cut me deep, Nate. You cut me deep. You didn't. What about when Tick came in with the bass? Tick
never the
came
one
in
to
with
look
the
for
bass.
to praise the musical numbers. Like, all right, dude.
Montrose came in and added a little piece.
What is this?
The
Hamilton?
boom, he added
Like,
it.
come on.
But I'm sorry, it's a little sour for me knowing that it wasn't actually Ruby in the car. So
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
does.
Christina was getting down.
yeah, that was
Yo,
that
Christina,
kind of,
Christina was she was up in there.
Ah,
You know, she was like, all
yeah.
right, I'm gonna have to hold this down. You know,
acting like a, just like
Because
yeah.
when she was
she
talking,
was like, oh, I
you know,
got
they were in
this.
the tower.
They were like,
Yeah.
Ruby, you off
Yeah.
beat.
That was
Ruby,
my
you can't sing no more. What happened?
family experience. I was like, wait, this kind of sounds like Ruby, but like, is she about to say like I betrayed you? But then I guess, you know, when Letty asked her that question, and she's like, oh, she caught you up, so you definitely not Ruby. But to me, that statement, I would have believed that coming from Ruby, being like, you know, that was kind of my first time really just feeling immersed in family because, you know, because of the relationships and the strain that happened. But yeah, I'm with Vanessa. Finding out it wasn't Ruby, I'm like, man, that
That
just
hurt my heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Christina, you don't deserve that. You didn't deserve that.
Yeah, Christina, boo.
I really was, when it comes to Christina and the way the fights were going down, intercut with each other, and then to the end, you know, this one of the things where it's like, man, I really wanted more. I wanted something more triumphant to happen, or more, you know, I don't know, bad to happen to her. Now, I ain't gonna front. Dying alone, being choked slow, I guess that's pretty good too. She deserves that too, but I don't know, maybe, I don't know, something bombastic. Maybe she explodes trying to do the spell or something, be like, gotcha. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It just seems like she got off easy off all the stuff she did.
She definitely got off easy. She could have just left her there.
There was something I think Nate said that I wanted to know her motivations beyond just being immortal. Like I feel like outside of the Ruby stuff, that was fleshed her character out way more than her actual motivations. Like, I want to be immortal. Yeah, a lot of people do. 58% of this country probably does. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I just felt like a very rough sketch of a character. So like, I can't really be I don't feel anything about her dying. I mean, she's annoying, but I didn't feel that much about her
What's
dying.
really frustrating too is like in the first episode and a couple times throughout the series, she alludes to like her relationship with her dad and also with the order and like the hierarchy of men versus women and things of that regard. And her exploring that would have been so much more interesting. Again, like the thing with the cop, like we still got no resolution to any of that. Why? Why did she have to curse the cop? Like literally, she got nothing from that. At least as far as we know.
Well, I thought that was her kind of getting him back for like William, or was that? At least that's what I thought. It was
William.
I mean,
she was holding down her boy William.
I wish her
William was
motivation
laid up in the
existed a little
bed.
bit more outside of men. Maybe, I guess.
William was in the bed like this.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Even
So
then, like
explore
that more. Like I don't know. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
And I actually think, and this is the main reason why, you know, outside of me not wanting Dee to become a villain, I'd rather she just lays there and dies and suffers than you know to be granted a quick death of being choked to death. She can't do magic. She's crushed by rubble. There's no one there. Like, let her just suffer. Like, no, they didn't make the wrong choice. She's gonna die anyways. They decided not to continue the cycle of vengeance and violence, and that is why I have a problem with it, because we have this whole thing where Tick gives his life to protect his family and end this whole thing with, you know, this order and the way they're using magic and manipulating people, and he's dying to stop, not only to save his family, but stop that to save people everywhere, you know, black people everywhere. And after this has ended and the story's concluded and everyone's like, oh, he died, I'm so sad, we have Dee come and like be like, oh, this is not over, I am the Terminator, I'm gonna ride my Shoggoth into the night. Like, was
Honestly,
it cool?
She just spat
was
on her
it
and walked away.
when she whipped and went, I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Thank you.
But
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It was, there's a lot of things about this that were very cool. It visually was cool. It was executed cool. The acting is great. But when you put the pieces together, the larger picture of the season of the story, it doesn't look great. That's what I mean. Like that's the part that's frustrating for me. Again, like when they bring what's his name? Titus back, like that should have been a whole episode. Like the guy that we have been talking about who started this whole cult thing and all, like I was like, is that Titus? Whoa!
Right.
Whoa!
Yeah.
We're gonna get some lore. And instead he was just like, no, you N-words, and then left, and then they killed him. And then like, come on. And I just also remembered, if you have to eat flesh, right? And you have a whole box of salt, wouldn't you at least put some salt on it? Try to make it go down a little easier? Like, come on, dude. I was like, you got that whole box of salt. Just be like,
Hey, I'm about to eat dinner, my man. Like, I'm about to eat. Oh, God. I'm about to be eating fish.
Also,
man.
he didn't
Like,
gag once, bro. Come on, Tick. I know you're a tough soldier, man, but I was like, you enjoyed that a little too much, my man.
Pinch your nose.
Yeah,
man.
they-
He's probably spilled a lot of death in them hospitals.
Did they
Yep.
cook it? Was it?
No,
Do you think
like,
he seared it
I feel
a
like
little
you
bit?
mess up the
Put a little barbecue sauce on it, it'll be
blood
alright.
on it. That's probably gotta be rare. I have to assume.
Yo.
Yeah, that was
See, look, this is what happened, right?
gross.
Hippolyta was like, I know you got to eat, that flesh. Check it. I was in the future, right? I went to this place called Chick-fil-A. They got Polynesian sauce. Put this on it. It's going to be all right. All right, don't worry about it. Just sprinkle a little bit on there. I also hit a little adobo or something. Sprinkle that on there. You're going to be good.
Adobo.
You're going to be
I
good. He was
put
like,
adobo on everything. Even
So-
and then he was like,
I just thought of something. So
What you got?
when Tick was talking about in the last, was the last episode before last, when him and Montrose were talking, and he showed him the book, and he was like, I went to the future, and the lady with the, did he say with a robot arm, like pushed the book in his hand and like pushed him back? Could that have been D?
It has to be.
Ooh.
yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like in the hood,
All
how you
right.
found Mike with his face poked up, and she saw like, oh, that's cousin Tick. Bam, you're not supposed to be here.
Oh, wow.
I'm here. Go back.
Oh.
Because at first I thought it was like that Afro,
Yeah.
futuristic,
Yeah.
robot alien, but it
She
makes
handed
more
the
sense
book, yeah.
if it was D, because he was
Yes.
like, white people were
Crazy.
still rioting and stuff, and I could see her probably there being like, y'all still ain't learned, and here he pops up and she's like, oh, right on time, bam, go back.
It's interesting when you mentioned the white people rioting, because I was like, after the stuff that's been happening after the summer, I'm like, yeah, white people were rioting in Portland and everywhere too. So I'm like, what are they rioting for and about? God, I want to know about that future.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. I really want to know.
Oh my
That's a good point, though. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, it probably was D.
Speaking of D, Corey Toom said, yeah, the D term felt like style over substance. Darius said, I'm not feeling this turn the other cheek rhetoric. D did what she had to do. Oh, boy.
I would've-
Ruthless Wonder said, yeah, it was D. It had to be D that pushed it back through. Like, here, take this book. Get out of here.
An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, my friend.
Not the whole world.
I would have just appreciated when she grabbed her. I was like, okay, she's not going to kill her. Maybe she just like that fear of like, okay, if I wanted to, I could, and then like let her go and then walked away and she's like coughing and then left to die. Or if she just hopped one of those good loogies that seems like everybody can do in this series and just like spat on her and been like,
Or
"You're
even
nothing."
just sick the monster on her.
That's what
you
I
know?
thought.
That's what I thought.
Like-
I thought the blood was
Yeah,
gonna
and then
happen.
let the,
Yeah.
That would be
you can
nice.
still have the blood like go, like they like to, because anytime there's blood in this show, it's got to be. He would have bled out
Splatter.
so fast
So
with
much-
the way the blood was just
Like that
rivers of blood, just like a waterfall.
It was so
And he's
dramatic. I was like, come on, Pam.
Yo.
Oh my
Like a-
dude!
All right,
Like,
now, all right.
Scream.
Hold up. Hold
I
up.
was like, this is a little gratuitous. Come on, fam. It was so much blood.
Yo, Tick.
After the way that Tick got in that scene with his biceps getting cut, like I was done with the blood. I was done with the blood. I was like, oh my God, that is painful. I was like done. So
Speaking of the spit, sorry. Do you guys mention the spit? The Misha, I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, Misha mentioned that the spit scene where D spit back at the cop was completely what's the word?
Improvised.
improvised.
Yeah, improvised, yeah. And
Yes.
like so I was looking at the GIF and like the guy he was just like I was like, damn, that's an actor. Because I'm like,
Like, what the?
anyway, that was a side, but he was like, yeah,
that
so.
makes it so
Whoa.
much better. Knowing
Yeah,
that. I love it that
yeah.
much more.
Man.
Anyway,
Dude.
yeah.
But with that said, is there anything that either is on your mind, on the chat's mind, that you wanted to cover that we haven't, kind of brushed over yet in the finale? Is there any other demons that we need to exercise?
I mean,
I kind of like
nothing's changed. Nothing.
I mean, someone did say it seemed like this was a Ruthless Wonder said everything was a closed loop to prevent a time paradox. So maybe,
that I was considering that too. I was like, maybe Dee from the future sent him that book to stop it or to keep it going. I'm not sure, but maybe it felt like this is all inevitable, and that's why I'm used to things changing when in like time travel stories. I'm used to things changing. I'm used to someone messing things up. Like I watch The Flash religiously. I know it's not that great of a show, but I watch a lot of time travel shows. Okay. So yeah. So I'm used to things changing and there's multiple timelines and da. So the closed loop makes a lot of sense that they were just like, this was inevitable. I get where I get that. But it's frustrating as a viewer because I'm used to things changing when you go into the past.
Well, that's what they established too with the whole Tick being the stranger too as well.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, we talked about this a little bit last time, but time travel, the way we perceive time, there's still even different theories on it, right? And there's different approaches to it. I'm glad that they took this approach. Kind of the time as a constant flow thing, so you can't really change it because it's always happening, right? So she gives him the book because she always gave him the book, and just like now Dee is going to grow up knowing that she gets the book, so when she's there and he pops out, she's gonna go,
that's what she was reading, wasn't it?
The book, yes, in the car, she was reading the book, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like who gave who the
it's
book?
A loop, yeah. It's
I can't remember. Vanessa, did you read the book? I can't remember. Anyone read the book? Oh, okay.
I didn't get past I stopped right before they started the trip in the very beginning, with Uncle George and them, and then I forgot what chapter that was, but I didn't get past to when things got supernatural. I was kind of like, wait, I thought this was supposed to be a different take, and then. But now I'm very disappointed in myself. I'm like, I just need to go back. I hear that a lot of stuff was left out and different, but I'm very curious now. I want to go back and read to see, just what changed. Was the path they took, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, or should they have stuck more close to the book?
Okay. Because we did have Corey Toom said, if any of y'all read the book, do you think that killing Uncle George brought the story down?
That's right.
Because he doesn't die. Yeah.
I honestly, I didn't read the book, but I would agree. Uncle George should have been a part of the story throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
I think that was a big mistake in my opinion.
I'm torn because I felt that way too, but now seeing how it played out, I almost feel like because he had such a big presence and was so connected and impacted everybody in his own unique way, that him still being there might have overshadowed everybody else's story. Because it would have he'd just been so big. He would have been the guy coming in with the right words to say. So there wouldn't have been a need for them to have their own arc journey or to come to the conclusion themselves, which kind of just made us appreciate how it, came to be even more. But so I'm kind of torn. I wanted him to still, I was looking forward to seeing Courtney B like, yes, in the whole series. And I'm like, 2 episodes? No. But yeah.
So here's a question for you.
All right.
How do you feel about the parallel between Montrose killing Yahima and Dee killing Christina?
I'm still confused as to why. I know he said he did it to protect his family, but that wasn't. And I think even Misha on Twitter acknowledged that she didn't flesh that out.
Yeah,
as well.
That's not what she said.
something.
That's not what she said.
Well, what
she
happened?
said was,
What'd she
I have it
say?
right here. What she says was, I wanted to show the uncomfortable truth that oppressed folks can also be oppressors, but I didn't examine or unpack the moment/portrayal of Yahima as thoroughly as I should have. It's a story point worth making, but I failed in the way in which I choose to make it. So she stands by what she did. She just thinks that she could have expressed it better, but it was necessary for the story.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm glad that she said that. I don't think the parallels are quite line up because Christina and Yahima are not the same.
I don't think that's.
Christina was an oppressor. She is an oppressor. Well,
they're not the same, but they both represent a threat. And that's why they're killed.
I don't know if I saw Yahima as a threat.
Yahima was a threat to one person. Christina was a threat to a lot more people. Like, that's not, I mean,
that's a matter of perspective, because to Montrose, she's a threat to the entire family because she can help them decipher the Book of Names, that's why he killed her. I'm not saying he was
playing God and he didn't have
we got there anyways,
but isn't it's not his decision to make.
Okay,
so.
but I would argue the same thing for D. She's
no, and I didn't say that. I agree with that. I just don't agree with the parallels lining up because Yahima and Christina are not.
Well, technically, D doesn't play God. Christina was already left for dead. She just sped it up. So she was definitely going to die.
Mental gymnastics going on there.
Well, no. Let's look at this. Flatly.
You're trying to compare
flatly and objectively, Yahima is not
different.
Yahima is not doing what Christina is doing. Christina is literally manipulating people. Who knows, even before Tick's family and them, who knows how many people she's been manipulating and taking their blood and pretending to be them and all kinds of crazy, weird stuff. So she's been doing this for a long time.
And
then take Yahima, who was stolen from, and then I guess trapped in this underground water boat thingy for her whole life, and they tricked her people into coming. Like, she was essentially manipulated in the way that Christina manipulates other people. I wouldn't say Yahima's like a bad guy. I don't know if I'd say that. Even objectively.
It's not about Yahima being a bad guy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, just like what you said, where Montrose decided to play God and choose that she needed to die, D did the same thing. I'm not saying that the two people are the same, but the choice in deciding that I'm going to be the one to decide that this person needs to die is the same.
By your logic, I still disagree because Christina was still already going to die. There was no one around. Like, D didn't have to do that. So I guess by your logic, what D did was worse than what Montrose did.
I think my thing with Yahima is we didn't get enough time to figure out where that story would have gone. And the whole Book of Names thing, we got there anyways. We would have got there anyways if Montrose didn't kill her or not. So
right, but he doesn't know that. And in the same way, D doesn't know what the ramifications of her killing Christina are. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not justifying what Montrose did. I think what both of them did was wrong. I don't think that they should play God and make the choice to end someone else's life, even if she is there dying. I don't think that counteracts my logic. I think that reinforces my logic. She made a choice that she didn't need to make to kill someone. She doesn't know. She doesn't have all this prior history of the stuff that Christina did.
But she has the book.
She has the book. She's read the book, and she's been talking to her family. So she knows enough.
I think she knows a lot about
and I mean, I'm at least
didn't we see her reading the book in the car? You told us, right?
Yeah, but she didn't finish the book.
She's a fast reader. The girl can read. Okay. But I'll say this. For me, no. Killing is never just a black and white thing. There's reasons that we kill people. The reason Montrose killed Yahima is not equal for me to the reason that D killed Christina. I don't even think they're even kind of like in the same ballpark.
I agree with you. Again, I mean, we can move on from this, but it's not about the reasoning. It's about the death. The reason is insignificant because that's a matter of perspective. You know, the person that is doing it from their perspective, they think they're right. That's why they're doing it, right? Outside of that, if you have different information, like we are able to know that.
There's certain things that are objective, though. There's certain things that are kind of objective, like she manipulates people. That's not a perspective thing. That she manipulates people and kills people. Yahima, actually, she's been frozen in time. She ain't killed nobody.
What gives Dee the authority to
That's-
choose to kill her?
That's not
It's-
what. That's not.
It's not
the
about
point.
authority, really.
Yeah, it's not about that.
It's
I think
about two
you brought up a parallel, and now we're kind of breaking it down. I don't think that the parallel exists. I think that both murder in both those scenarios were wrong. I don't think that Dee needed to do that. I agree. I don't think she needed to do that. And I have had intense conversations. I don't think Montrose was right in doing that either. So like, at the end of the day, like neither murder is good. Like I don't think it's good at all. But what I think Rahel's saying is we just disagree with the parallel.
Yeah, well, but that is the parallel that I'm drawing, is that they are both bad, and that even though from one perspective, because of what we know of Christina, it feels better because we don't like Christina, versus where with Montrose it feels bad because we see Yahima as an innocent person. All I'm saying is that both of the instances are bad. That is the parallel. I'm not saying that they're the same situation or even that they had the same motivation. It's just that this is like the cycle of violence, right? This episode is called Full Circle, not just because of the time thing of everything coming back together, but also the way that we keep repeating these things. That episode where Yahima is killed, that episode is called A History of Violence. Like these aren't things that were accidental. Like this is intentional here. So again, like this is also why like I feel conflicted. She's talking about she wants to do a second season, but I don't know if I really want Dee to take this turn. Like maybe if she's going like the dark vigilante route, but with the morals and things that they've set up for the show, like that would lead her down a path that would fail her. Like,
and that's a tough subject. And I think I don't disagree. That's a topic Black women can be bad people too.
Yeah, I think that would be very interesting to explore. I just wish that if we were going down that path, that we had delved into Dee a little bit more. That's what I mean. Is like that's why this turn for me. Like, I get it, and it looked super cool, and I'm glad she got the robot arm, but I have a feeling that when I rewatch this season, while there are a lot of things that are going to be like, oh, cool, foreshadowed. Oh, yeah, I didn't notice that before. I don't feel like the Dee, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like this turn from Dee is something that was really foreshadowed until like the last few episodes. And then it's like, now she's this murderous vigilante. That's the thing that's tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
And who's to say if we do get a season 2 that they're not going to take Dee down that route? Maybe this was just the thing that after all the stuff that Christina did to her family, she felt like she had to get power back for her family.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
or maybe some closure, Dee,
exactly. She was trying to get some sort of closure and power back. So who's to say like this was just one moment in time for Dee, and then she's just going to live out the rest of her life knowing that her family has access to an otherworldly power. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we don't know what that's right. We think it could be this deep turn into super villainy and going down a bad route, when it could just be one moment in time where she needed to get justice for herself and her family. And murder is still bad, but like the way that she's expressing it is like, hey, you have messed up with my family. You've messed with me. You've manipulated us over this whole time. You're probably the reason why my father was killed. I'm going to do what I need to do to get some sort of vengeance or some sort of semblance of closure because you messed up with me, with my family, and you've been picking at me the whole time. So if we do get a season 2, they could just pick up and Dee could just be the same. We don't know yet. You know what I mean? So for all the conversation about her being a villain, we don't know what that is going to be yet. You know what I mean?
They could definitely go different ways. It's just that line, the like, they still haven't learned. Like the way that she delivers it is what I think is has leading to that speculation. But again, they could go 6 different ways with it.
The Ruthless Warrior says, if anything, Christina was given mercy. She's dying. Electric Moxie then follows up and says, the passage Dee read in the car from the book said, quote, blood must be spilled on both sides. That was the instruction. That was the instruction. So I guess maybe she was like, yo, look, future me said, chitty, chitty, bang, bang. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I will say,
gotta go.
For season 2, I would like to see a little bit more. I feel like some things could just get a little bit more fleshed out and or wrapped up. But I can't say, I don't know if it needs to be like a 10 episode season 2. I feel like even if it's like a 2-hour special like that. It would give us, if done right, it could give us everything and be like done. I just feel like I'm just scared if it is a season 2 and they're given to do 10 episodes, like we're going to just get a lot of those like, what was this episode for? What was this about? And I just don't want them to ruin, like, you know, I feel like what they did was good. Yeah, they have some areas, you know, could have been better, but overall, I mean, to me, this series was, I mean, I can't say enough great things. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, the concept, the approach, I'm like, oh yes, just don't ruin it.
Yeah.
By
That's
doing too much.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like of the mind where I am okay with doing an anthology or a soft anthology where it's a different time period, a different set of characters with them all playing the same, all playing different, like American Horror Story style, or it's like, because we've closed the loop, the time loop is closed. I don't know how much else we can go in that story besides seeing, because we already know how it ends with technically Dee handing the book to Tick. We know the story. I would like to see an exploration within that universe though, and the actors. That's my personal, I don't want Lovecraft Country to end, but I don't think I personally need another season of this.
Picking up right where we left off. Like,
and its current format. Yeah. I don't, a traditional season 2. I don't think I need that personally.
Yeah.
Word. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say an anthology, if they did, they could explore the late 60s to, you know, early 70s. Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
How they have magic go through it. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that would be a really rich storytelling kind of thing for them to kind of latch onto and explore in the next season if it was an anthology series. What you got, Mike?
And
you're going to say something?
I'm of the mind, now that I've seen it, I might lean a little with Gamma Ray. I'm kind of I don't want the season 2 to come out and not be flames. So now I'm kind of worried, but I'm also not against doing something where season 2 is 3 episodes and then season 3 is 10 and maybe season 4 is 5. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against that either. Now I know that plays with production schedules and people's money and stuff like that. I do understand that. But I'm not against doing something creative with, like, you always have to stick to 10 episodes, or you always have to stick, or you you could have just a movie like this year or year after next. We'll have a Lovecraft Country movie on HBO Max, and it'll go through what future Dee had to do to give the book to old Tick or past Tick or whatever. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So there are, especially when you have different dimensions and you have different times, you could play with that, but also I'm like, leave it alone. I kind of feel like Watchmen, where I'm like, yo, Watchmen was dope. Don't stop. Stop it right there.
And they smartly left it alone.
Yeah. Ooh, the finale was like, oh, snap. And then it was like, all right, you know what? We ain't even going to mess with it. We just going to leave it alone.
Right.
She was about to take a dip. Then she was like, ah. And then she was like, nope. But so
Watchmen 2 was specifically written to be one season.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I guess
we'll see.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I guess we'll see. I just hope, you know, whatever does come after this is a lot of thought, and I mean, they got to do some focus groups and test. You know, be like, what do y'all think? Just please.
or they could be like, psych, we got 3 more episodes dropping next week. I'll be like, oh shit. Yo, I'm just saying, people could do dope stuff like that, like keep ill secrets, like keep that CIA level top secret, like Star Wars, like NDA contract level silence. And then be like, yo, actually, we got 3 episodes dropping for that would be crazy. But I want to see more. Yeah, you know what? I want to see some more. I want to see where they go. As long as we keep the same creative team, I say go for it.
Do you want another Game of Thrones season 8? Because this is how you get Game of Thrones season 8. Okay.
Except you have to go through season 2 to get season 8. So if we're gonna give that parallel, we would get Game of Thrones season 2 and not Game of Thrones season 8. So you can't give me that.
We're getting that fast tracked because now they've run out. This is the end of the book. This is the end of the book material. So now we get to the part of speculation, which isn't necessarily bad, but that's a very, very risky gamble. And 99% of the time, it doesn't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Big Little Lies spun its wheels just because they wanted to add all this. Yeah,
this is the reality of most American television, and this is why something like Breaking Bad is considered one of the greatest American TV series of all time. When people create TV shows now, especially in the US, we make shows with a great premise and then we just start going. But when you write a story, that's not how you construct a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? We talked about this before. Like, imagine if you had a book where you're reading the book and it wasn't done. And then, like, you know, every week you got another chapter or whatever, right? Like, it's a very disjointed way. That's not how you write books, right? You but even then, but even comic books developed a way around this.
Not the ones that get canceled in the middle of an arc, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a whole nother.
As long as you're not canceled in the middle of an arc.
No, you're right.
But even in the way, like, you have a numbered arc, it's like 6 issues, whatever. Yeah. This is gonna have an end, and maybe like what ends doesn't really matter, and it'll all get changed later. But the story is complete, so you have to look at these things of like, I really like this show. I love the cast. I would much rather these actors and these creators move on to do some more great things. I'd love to have Misha go direct another show with another story either she's created or another adaptation or something, and take her vision in the way that she's been able to express these issues that Black America feels and express them in this fantastic visual way. I would love that. I don't want her to get trapped into remaking Lovecraft Country, whether it's an anthology or a season 2 that picks up. Honestly, like, could it be good? Yes. Do I think it's worth the risk? No, I frankly, I don't, especially with the way that the season has ended up. It's not like there's some big, larger, overarching plot. It'd be different if they introduce, like, we find at the end that the source comes from this dead old god or something that is like trying to escape the nether realm or something. That is some really weird, like, Lovecraftian stuff, but they really didn't scratch the surface a lot of that at all. In fact, they implied most of the time that it's just straight up Judeo-based Christianity god who just kind of controls everything. So there isn't a lot there that really, really warrants a second season. There isn't a lot that sets up like this story that needs to be concluded. Maybe an anthology, but even then, with the way that this season has panned out, like, I feel like they, like, the genre thing didn't they weren't even able to sustain that for one season, let alone, if they go on to another season where, like, each episode kind of focuses on a genre. Like, I could see them maybe going like a sci-fi route, but again, I'd rather just have, there's a ton of great sci-fi books and sci-fi stories and things written by Black people and then produced by Black people that we can do, and we can bring these talented people, this cast, this crew, and go tell these other stories instead of trying to rehash something just because it was popular and made some money. So I don't know. I'm very hesitant in general of any show that is written that isn't specifically intended to be like 3 to 5 seasons, or where they have like a plan for the end and they're moving that way. Like, just the kind of write the one season of the show, and if it's good, we'll do another one. Like, it works for like the sitcoms, but for this type of show where I'm looking for like a deeper connection, I don't know. I would just rather we have this one season that's really good, and we can go back and recommend it, and you can watch it and you can enjoy it. And like,
they're gonna have to be real careful, because Black America, we are invested.
I think it's hard for us to let go of shows that are like this. Like, I've never seen a character like Hippolyta in live action, like,
right,
hair and constructing arms and figuring out things. Like, I've never seen a character like her, so it's hard for me to let her go. But I know that I have to have faith that creators will continue to get these chances to make characters like her.
Wouldn't you rather let her go and be what she is?
I said it's hard, man. It doesn't mean I don't want to.
Then see her be ruined. Wouldn't that be the worst thing?
I don't disagree.
Comes out and you're like,
do not disagree.
What did they do to my girl?
I don't disagree, which is why I didn't want a second.
She gets remarried to a white man and becomes like a housewife who just bakes pies, and you're like, they murdered Hippolyta.
I don't think Misha would do that to her, but no,
I'm being extreme.
Yeah. I definitely didn't want a second season, but I get it.
Just had my fandom come back to bite me in the butt so many times that I would rather just play it safe then like ask for too much. If we get a second season, which I don't want, and it's fire, I will be the first one to be like, hell yes, I'm so glad they killed it. I love this season. I will be the first one. But if it's ass, I will also be the first one to be like, I told you they shouldn't have done another season.
He'll definitely do that.
They should have left it alone.
If there's anything he gonna do, it's that.
Okay, Mike. Okay, I got a question for you all. Okay, so say they don't bring this back for a second season. What do you want to see Misha tackle next? Mike, I think you and I know what we want to see Misha tackle next.
Yeah. Do you want me to say it?
Go ahead.
She's already working with one of the actresses that would be in this property. They're already on HBO Max. So we should have a Black Canary series.
Yeah.
Super dope. Cool fight scenes, dope choreography, mad chops and stuff every week. Cool screams, messing with sound effects, all kinds of weird ways, beating up people. We already casted it, yo. We already put it on a tweet. We casted it. We covered it in a video a couple months ago. Look, just let's make it happen. Now, of course, Nate, he ain't feeling that. Nate like, nah, bruh. But let me tell you, Nate. This is right.
You want to take a black female showrunner who has created one of the most groundbreaking fantasy depictions that somehow tackles black issues in a way that I didn't honestly even know was possible to do on TV before something like this. And you want her to move on from this to do a superhero TV show? Have you lost your mind?
Your tone is
all right. Now pause it real quick. Hold on. Because I got this.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing. What does the superhero genre need in television besides someone like Misha Green? She could change the game in ways that we have no idea. Just because it's superhero doesn't mean it has to be CW.
And also spoken like someone who's never watched Doom Patrol or like what?
Doom Patrol.
Like that's crazy.
Swamp Thing was dope.
Swamp Thing.
You got The Boys. That's cool.
Season 1 was amazing of Legion, but like superhero TV's not CW and ABC. Like it's so much bigger than that. And like on HBO, like you already saw Watchmen. You saw Watchmen. How you gonna say that? Like, come on now. Come on.
You sleeping, Nate. You sleeping.
And we're not just talking about some B-limit showrunner or
B-list who did character. Black Canary is fucking iconic. Sorry, it's iconic.
And she did Underground, so it's more of like another
genre
team show between Jurnee and Misha. That's where the idea comes from, because I think when those two get together, there's magic on the screen. They understand. They have an understanding. They have language between each other. And you can see it by the way that they communicate online, by the way that they're talking about when Jurnee posts stuff behind the scenes with her. I think that, because like when I was supposed to work on Underground, I was supposed to do marketing for Underground, right? And when it got canceled, I was like, oh man, I wonder what she's going to do next. And then she comes back with Lovecraft Country of all things. It's like, I think we need to stop defining superheroes in the way of how we defined it back in 2004, early 90s, early 80s. The superhero genre has changed the game.
It's different now.
Over the last 10 to 20 years. It's a whole different beast now, which is why, we have phase 4 of the MCU, why we're having DC, try to re-innovate themselves because they try to match it up to what Marvel did. So I think, I'm not saying like, yeah, let's go for her to go to like something that is less than what she is worth, but I think she would bring a lot of energy and a lot of class to it, because this is something that also people have been clamoring for too. Everyone after Birds of Prey came out said we need to see more Black Canary, and I think that's the way in. Having a female fronted show with a female showrunner, that would be dope. And then diving into that.
Yeah, I mean, I would even push it to like, I want a DCEU movie. Like, I want Misha to direct a Black Canary movie. I don't even want just a show. Like, I want a movie. I want her to be on projects. Like, I think she has a great visual eye. I want her on projects.
Yeah.
A film project too. That's not gonna happen for like a couple of years. I'm not advocating putting people at risk for films, but because they ain't gonna, at least not gonna make any money out of it. But I agree. Like, I think that the sentiment on how people view superheroes, yeah, I get it. When you were like, we just had like a few, some good stuff and some bad stuff, but like there's a whole, it's so expansive now. Like there's so much more. Like they're not gonna have, Doom Patrol is not like The Flash, and Legion is not like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and like Daredevil is not like Watch. Like there's just, the quality is different because it's an oversaturated genre. Like I think that Nisha could do such a good job with the Black Canary show.
It's my disagreement is not that I think that she couldn't do a job, or even that I think all superhero stuff is the same. I think, with something like Watchmen, the cultural content, the political content, the social commentary is something that is baked into the property. And it was still very difficult for him to get that show made, even with everything that he had already done with HBO, right? And it took them 3 times of him working on that script to get Watchmen produced. My issue with doing superhero stuff is not from the superhero genre. It comes from, because of the last 20 years, how superhero movies and TV and culture has exploded and become mainstream. That also means there's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of hands involved. Now, if she was doing some Image comic or some independent comic adaptation or something, yeah, sure, I would be totally on board for that, because that's going to give her a lot more freedom. My hesitation comes from when you work with DC, when you work with Warner Brothers, you don't get to make what you want to make. You get to make what they allow you to make. Will they give her some leeway because she's been successful? Hopefully, I hope so. But there's still going to be a lot of hands involved in the pot. And I don't know. Like, I don't know that much about Black Canary specifically, but I find it hard to believe that she's going to be able to carry the same strong messages and put these groundbreaking stories on TV with something, a property like. Well, I just said that I'm not super familiar with Black Canary, so I don't know why. I don't know what about the Black Canary storyline really speaks to that experience. From what I know, she's a white woman, so I don't really.
So Lovecraft Country was produced by Warner.
There is a possibility,
right?
like,
but it's also.
Oh, go ahead.
But it's a much smaller property. Like yes, it's produced by Warner Brothers, but Lovecraft Country is not an ongoing series like DC has Batman. Black Canary is a character that's been around for years and is infinitely more popular than something like Lovecraft Country is. When you have these larger brand characters, there's much more input and control over what goes on the screen.
Now, with that, if you look at a property, especially since Clement and Vanessa here, if you look at a property like Black Lightning, that is able to handle some pretty culturally relevant topics, and that's on CW. Mm-hmm. So imagine, what they'd be able to do with Michigan. And there was never anything, well, I won't say never. Black Lightning wasn't in a position many times where it was like super culturally relevant. But now with Salim and Mara Brakakil, you have this show that's a gem. Even on CW, where you're like, whoa, hold up, how? What? This is on CW, and it's like it's covering this, or they're saying this, or they're handling this. So I think if you take the ability to handle a DC property, and you can see that has happened, I guess assume that more, I guess, a wider berth would be given on something like HBO Max.
Yeah. Yes, they give the Akils a lot. They basically give them a playground to play in. They don't. I don't think I've ever heard them getting restricted over on Black Lightning. They've touched heavy topics. So I'm not going to dive into this because I read a lot of stuff and I know a lot of stuff, and Warner Brothers meddles a lot. This is why we have a lot of bad DC movies. But in certain properties, they don't. And Black Lightning is one of them. And I don't think that they would. I don't think they would overstep to the degree that they did, and like they are currently doing with like the Flash. We're never getting a Flash movie. But I see we're already kicking off on Static Shock. Milestone Media is coming back. Like they're prioritizing a lot of Black.
Hopefully.
Content. So Michael B. Jordan's producing, like they're producing. Yeah. So I'm less worried about that.
It's just that Milestones had many starts and stops. We know that.
I think whatever she does, she's gonna kill it. I'm gonna check it out. I don't have a problem with her if that's what she's going to do. I'll give it a shot. I just have a hesitation with, especially with someone who's so creative, like the way that she approached the storytelling and also visually in the show. It really is like stuff that I haven't seen before. And I just, whatever she does next, I want her to still have the creative freedom to be able to express herself that way. And when I hear superhero, I hear mainstream. I hear big studio budget involvement, which is good and also a bad thing. And that's the only reason why I have that hesitation. And also too, as far as like the Static Shock being filmed and Milestone coming back, like that's great. I'm all for that stuff. I am frankly just wary of it because I don't know how much of it is genuine and how much of it is this is trendy. This is the thing to do right now. Either way, it's good to see more representation. It's good to see more stories, but I'm still gonna let it come out and then we'll watch it and then be like, okay, this is good. Yeah. But like,
I gotta have some it is some things if someone gives me money because they feel bad because they're white and I'm black, I still got the money. So there's something I don't care about. Like I don't care. Also, media coming back because they're white guilt.
But also,
I'm okay with it.
But also, it's like the difference between this. I haven't read the book, but just from like what I've read online, the difference between the series and the book, right? Like the book was written by a white man, and the series is adapting the book, but it's through the scope of a black woman who's running the show, right? And clearly, there's a lot of things that have changed and have become more into focus and more, because of that perspective. So in that same way, like, I'm glad Michael B. Jordan is producing Static Shock. Like that could mean anything in the industry. He could have just been on the phone and be like, yeah, that sounds great. Like that could mean anything. And, they could have a white showrunner and it could be like, sup y'all, I'm Static Shock.
Like they did with American Gods, poor thing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Like,
let's not bring that up. Let's not bring that up.
I'm just, like if it's good, great. I'm just not going to hold my breath.
I understand. I feel like Nate needs a hug.
I've been hurt. I've been hurt so many times. Okay. It's tough being a fanboy.
You know what? Be optimistic.
You guys know what it's like. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
We grew up as nerds into this stuff, right? And then I watched. Not only did I watch Disney buy my love Marvel, right? I watched them buy Star Wars also, and then Marvel
was about to go bankrupt. I mean, somebody had to save them.
Someone had to step into Marvel, but I agree.
Marvel do you want 10 years of movies, or do you want them to just not exist? Which one you want? Because they were mismanaging their money. Ask anyone who was at the executive level, at the editorial level. I've met them. The money situation was bad in Marvel at that time. So
first of
either A, there'd be no Marvel, or some like podunk company would have bought it up and it would have been like whack stuff, or we could have 10 years of dope movies and be like, oh snap.
I'll say this, and I think we're getting off the point of Misha. I'll say this. We did
bring it back.
We did get Black Panther. That's all I'm gonna say. We got the shining example of Black Panther. We got the Captain America trilogy. We got Endgame, Infinity War, Doctor Strange. We got all these great movies.
Remove that one.
I love Doctor Strange. Okay, I love Doctor Strange. But let's bring it back to Miss Misha Green.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to see her tackle back next? Okay, and then we can rock back.
Yeah, because
I feel like, I want to see whatever. It doesn't matter. I feel like whatever she touches, she's going to turn it into greatness and show us things, as Nate mentioned, that we've never seen before. We've never seen the approach or how they're tackled or just overall just viewed. And I feel like she could take a version of Downton Abbey and somehow turn it into a cool perspective, flag. I mean, I just feel like I'm not gonna say she can't do no wrong, but I feel like when given the endless possibilities, she's gonna show up and show out. So doesn't matter what it is, I'm ready.
Agreed.
That's great.
I think that I personally would love for her to adapt my favorite novel, The Ear, the Eye, and the Arm. I talked about this before. It's by Nancy Farmer, and it's set in Zimbabwe 2194. It's an Afrofuturistic novel. Please look it up, at least look it up and then read it, because it's so good. It's one of my favorite novels ever. And
adding that to my list.
Futuristic projects, like even if it's just like a TV special or whatever, I don't care. I want to see more of what we saw in the Hippolyta episode. her in space. I want to see that. I want to see Misha. Her vision is so good. I would see her direct a Beyonce video. Like anything. So
Anything.
but I specifically want her to see more of her do more Afrofuturism. Yes, I would love to see a Black Canary show, but I'm more focused on Afrofuturism. I want more of that everywhere.
Nate, anything you want to see her do next?
I mean, yeah, that book sounds great. Like, I just want to see her do something creative, you know? Like, I like that I hadn't heard of Lovecraft Country until the show came out, you know? Like, that's the kind of thing that I want her to do, because I think that is what is going to give her the freedom to really, like, express herself. Like, I don't want not to drag it back to Black Canary, but, you know, when you do an adaptation like that, especially one that's well known, a lot of people bring in kind of like preconceived notions of what they want or what they expect, right? And I think being able to come to this with a, you know, mostly blank slate, aside from knowing it's kind of scary and has Lovecraftian stuff, I think really kind of added to the viewing experience. And that's like, just like you said, like, she has this vision to be able to show these grand cosmic scope things. And I think that's an incredible talent, and I want to see that fostered and explored more.
Vanessa, real quick, what's the name of that book again for the chat?
The Ear, the Eye, and the Arm by Nancy Farmer. I read it when I was like 8, and I read it like 2 years ever since. It's about 3 kids that get kidnapped by like this gang who want to use them for ransom, and then they get like all these adventures. There's magic, there's witches, there's just a lot of cool stuff. And that the detectives that are set to find them are called the Ear, the Eye, and the Arm. And each of them have a talent. One can hear really well, one has really long arms, and the ear, the eye, he can see really, like at night or something, he can see really well. I haven't read in like 5 years, but it's so much fun, and I would love to see Misha tackle it. Yeah.
What up, Clement? Anything on your mind for what? Besides, I mean, I already said what I'd like to see. So
I mean, I already saw. I'll add this. We did say Keith David is Wildcat. So
yeah, Keith David is Wildcat.
Just saying, but that's what I want to see. Yeah, right.
So with that said, shouts to everybody in the chat. Thank you for rolling through. Of course, hit that thumbs up if you like what you're seeing, because we enjoyed your awesome conversation. So before we get to y'all, of course, right here we have the one and only actress, philanthropist, alligator wrestler, and entrepreneur, Vanessa Shark.
As a shark, I often wrestle alligators. So that is something that I post a lot on my Instagram. So if you want to follow me, go ahead. I'm Vanessa Shark. I talk a lot. I love doing that. Cool, thanks.
right here. You've seen her on other stuff here on the channel, but if you're new tonight, Gamma Ray Cosplay, you know her, you love her. Say what's up.
Hey everybody, I definitely enjoyed chatting with y'all tonight. These discussions, I just love it. You know, thought-provoking debates back and forth, and very insightful, and I learned a lot. But yeah, just being, tomorrow I gotta start back being a lawyer by day, but then hopefully sometime tomorrow night I can switch it up and get into cosplay. But if you want to check out my cosplay and my journeys, feel free to at Gamma Ray Cosplay on all social media platforms. And I also one half of the Geeked Up podcast, and you can check that out at Geeked Up JXN on all social media platforms as well.
What up? Now, right here, you know him, you love him. He not only Golden Glove Box champion 2019, also has reached the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. He's known as an international man of mystery, Clement Bryant.
Man, mystery. All right, I like that. Finally, something that I can get behind. That's the energy that I want. No, I'm just playing. That's stupid. Twitter, Instagram, Clement Bryant. It's been fun rocking with y'all, and we'll have more arguments in the future.
What up? Then, last but not least, in the bottom square right here, you know him, IndyCar racing champion. You know him, X Games BMX Trick Champ 2018. You also know him as Bass Pro Fishing's top fisherman 2019. That's right, Nate Miller.
That's me, and I have to tell you, it has been absolute torture to be here talking to you guys all night.
Whoa!
You're our favorite.
I'm just kidding.
I love it.
I love y'all.
The American people want to know.
It was
I'm
just
just
a joke, but dang. Character assassination, Nate.
This has been, honestly, this has been so fun. This show has been quite a roller coaster. And, you know, for everybody watching, like, I only critique things that I really care about, I'm invested in. And I do love this show. Like, I don't think it's perfect. I don't think most things are. But the highs were like really spectacular. And some of the performances were like things that I will remember for a really long time. But yeah, it's been really awesome talking about it with you guys. This is an awesome panel, great opinions and discussions that we've had. And thanks to the chat too, who's been hanging out with us. If you want to chat with me about this show or about anything else, you can find me everywhere at Dog Like Nate, Twitter, Instagram. And also I'm going to be moving this month, but starting November, I will be streaming probably 5 days a week on Twitch. So check me out at Twitch at Dog Like Nate. And, you know, we'll get more stuff going there.
He'll be sure.
What up? And big shout out to the chat. Yeah, and don't forget about the OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't forget about that. Big shout out to the chat. I cannot name all of y'all. Here's why I can't name all of y'all. Today, I want to say thanks for rolling through. It's a whole bunch of y'all up in the chat. And I can't even try to decipher through all of them. And I know if I name like 5 of y'all and not like the other 40 of y'all or something like that, then y'all gonna be mad. Or if I name 40 of y'all and forget 2. But look, thank y'all for rolling through. Much love for y'all. And of course, NERD.
There's 100 people watching right now. Let's get some thumbs up going. If you like
let's
let's
get let's get some thumbs up. So of course, NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All them places, hit that thumbs up if you like what you've seen. Hit that thumbs down if you don't. But if you hit that thumbs down, I'm gonna send D after you, and she gonna be like, "That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's a little much.
Okay. She won't do that.
Grapefruit.
All right, she won't do that. She'll just be like, but she won't do nothing though. She'll just let you know like she ain't happy. All right. So podcast if you want to listen, Spotify for that music. Thank you for rolling through, man. This season has been dope. We've had a lot of fun, and you guys have had fun with us. I'd like to thank everybody that came through: Clement, Vanessa, Nate, Gamma. Look, the time that it takes to be on here, I know it's not easy. So I thank you guys for your time. I thank y'all for rolling through. Of course, once again to the chat, we out. We're gonna leave y'all with Arcatron. That's ARCKATRON.com, the Space Bridge. Check it out. From us to you, we're just saying thank you for watching. This is a dope show, and hopefully we'll see something soon from Misha Green. I don't really care what it is. So something hot. Maybe with Future, with tall sisters with big afros. So all right, from us to you, we're just saying peace.
Later.
We out, y'all. Oh man.